Hey all the Hey all my cold-blooded buddies. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about the dangers of cohabiting reptiles, especially lizards. And to help with that, I'm going to provide a prime example of what can happen when you do cohab, and that's with this little guy right here. His name is AJ. He's a bearded dragon. He's mostly paralyzed, and he enjoys long crawls on the beach. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so straight to it, we try as much as possible to advise people to keep reptiles in separate enclosures. And that goes for reptiles of different species because they can actually become, toxic to each other. And it also goes for reptiles of the same type. And that's because these guys in the wild are, super territorial, and the same goes for being in captivity. These guys will fight to the point of where they can cause a serious injury, or they can even kill the other animal. And the only time that cohabiting is met by an exception is when it comes to breeding. Because you actually have to put them together for them to do their thing. And even during those times, you want to monitor them just to make sure nothing happens, because it can happen in the blink of an eye. And once they're done, you want to separate them again, because in a lot of species, males will actually harass the female to keep breeding nonstop, which can stress out the female and actually, damage her health. And another thing that can happen when you cohab, besides, fighting or anything like that, is one animal can actually become a snack for the other one. And nobody needs that, nobody needs that kind of friend. Now, take AJ for example. His previous owners thought that he needed a friend. And he was about maybe half this size when, they got him a buddy. And that friend decided to take a snap at his spine right about here. And like I said, it happened in the blink of an eye according to his previous owners. And that quick bite left his back legs to where he has basically zero use of them, and they just kind of flail around. He has 50% of use of this arm and roughly about 80% use of this arm. And besides all that, that bite also stunted his growth, which means that he's not going to grow much more than this. And believe it or not, he's actually 3 years old. Now, at 3 years old, he should not fit almost in the palm of my hand like this. He should be about close to 2 feet in total length. And as you can see, he's nowhere near that size. Hey guys, I also wanted to give you a quick peek into AJ's enclosure. We have him in a smaller enclosure just because of his condition, but I wanted to show you all the stuff he has in there. So he's in basically it's an Exoterra, the shorter version, the front opening doors. He has his UVB light up on top. He has his heat lamp. You can see he has his little decorations in here. And this little log right here, he actually climbs all the way to the top somehow. I've seen him start down here and just kind of work his way up. But I just wanted to give you guys a peek at that. Bye, AJ. Because of his condition, we've had a lot of people tell us, hey, you guys should just put him down. He's suffering. He's in pain. And even if I wasn't running a rescue, I don't think I could do that to this little guy. Now it's almost impossible to tell if a reptile is in pain in any way, because they don't display that same amount of discomfort like we would, or a dog or a cat would. You can visually tell when they're in pain. These guys, not so much, but he gets around pretty well, believe it or not, and he actually lives a pretty damn good life with us. He gets hand-fed, he gets a lot of attention, as you can tell from this video. And if he's not being hand-fed, we put his food in a little dish, a very shallow dish, a little far away from him, and he basically just crawls towards it, which is actually helping build up his strength a little bit. And his diet is basically the same. He eats his veggies, he eats his bugs. I'd have to say that super worms are his favorite bug. I guess just because, of the movement of them, and he literally likes to chase them down. And I'll actually post a clip of that at the end of the video, and just so you can see how well he does get around. You'd almost forget that he's paralyzed, how quickly he moves at dinner time. We have a couple of other educational animals that we take with us, to our events, but he's one of our favorites because most people just don't know what can happen to these animals if you don't provide proper care for them. The right lighting, the right types of veggies, they don't understand that. And to see it in person, it really sets it into their mind that these guys need advanced care compared to a cat or a dog. Speaking of events, we haven't done any for a while because of all this craziness going on, but we're actually doing one this Saturday, and it's going to be interesting to say the least because, all the steps we have to take to, keep everybody 6 feet apart and all that good stuff, and I get it, it's for everyone's general safety, but it's a first for us. We're still going to allow the chance for everybody to get up close with these guys and, get some one-on-one interaction with them, hold them, take pics with them, all that good stuff. But we do have to do it differently than we had before. For information on that event, you can check the calendar on our website. I'll put a link in the description. And like I said, if you're local, come check it out. Now, even if you don't make it to the event, still check out the website so you can keep up with that event, our other future events once we get rolling again, and ways you can help the rescue and just other stuff in general. Now, we get that owning reptiles is awesome for those that do, and for a lot of people, when they get their first one, they fall in love with their personality, they fall in love with just the overall coolness factor, and they start thinking, maybe I should get another one. Now, before you do that, you need to ask yourself some questions. And one of those questions being, can I afford to keep up with an additional animal's food and housing cost? Another question would be, can I afford, or even do I even have room for a separate enclosure for another animal? On top of all that, do you have funds set aside for an exotic vet in case something happens to one or any other of the other animals you have? You need to keep in mind that a exotic vet is a little more expensive than your typical vet. So that's another thing to consider. Now, if you can honestly answer yes to those questions, great. We ask that you consider adopting from us, again if you're local, or an exotic rescue in your area before you actually go to a pet store, an expo, whatever source you would go to for getting a reptile. Now, we're not saying that anything is wrong with those sources, there's anything bad about them, but of course it's always better to adopt before you shop. Now, if the answer to those questions is no, stop. Stop and do your research. Stop and plan everything out. Stop and get everything ready before you actually get another animal. Well, guys, that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about today. Make sure you hit the like button if you can, and subscribe to our channel to keep up with any videos we have coming out in the future. We're hopefully going to start doing them once a week. So we'll see you soon, guys. Take care.